Good morning, everyone. Good morning in America. Good afternoon to the folks here in Europe. Thanks for joining. Welcome to Face Shift Games. I'm Jason.
I'm Scott.
And we are the team behind Drop Drive Second Son. We're also the team behind several other prior Kickstarters. Scott, can you believe I was doing the math? It's not hard to do the math. It has been half a decade since we have done one of these live streams.
It has been a little while. Yeah.
2021 was the campaign for Drop Drive, which is the last time we did this. Mm-hmm. We did, I forget, probably some Anomaly contests or whatever at the time, but it's been 5 years. What have we been doing?
Wow. Yeah. And I know you've been doing a variety of other really interesting projects, but yeah, we're always in touch. So yeah, even though it's been a while since we've been together here, yeah, we're still friends. We've been talking.
We're still friends. Yes, actually, Scott joins at almost every convention. We do Gen Con, Essen, PAX Unplugged. We've done PAX East a couple times, including just a couple weekends ago. Yeah, so we've been keeping busy. And I know you have also been working on some nifty new designs, some that I've seen, some that I haven't even seen. So nothing to unveil here today, but that will be some exciting news for after this campaign.
I hope so.
I have great ideas, and I'm assuming you do too. As usual, for the folks who are joined, huge thank you wherever you are in the world. And just give a shout out if there's any issues with the audio or video. It has been 5 years since we've exercised this technology. So let us know. That's not totally true. I had other campaigns in between, but all right, we have a lot of content planned for everyone today. So we're going to get right into it. The main event will be that we review all of the different Anomaly submissions that came through our design contest as part of Drop Drive Second Son. So we will do that, but we have some other fun stuff first. So I'm going to switch our stage, and thank you, Crack a Sniff, for letting me know the audio's good. Alrighty, so live stream today for Drop Drive Second Son. So okay, first thing, campaign overview. Giving you a little bit of a peek behind the curtain here in terms of some of the charts. We get a lot of different charts and graphs in the background, and this is not to try to be overly prideful, but we are proud. This campaign is strong. This is healthy. Many of you probably hear of and know of the barren wasteland that people talk about in the middle of a campaign, where you're just in this campaign slump and nothing's happening, nothing's moving.
Or you backtrack a little bit.
We are increasing every single day consistently, and it is so exciting, and it just reinforces and reinstills for certainly Scott and I what we're doing, why we're doing it, and the fact that there are so many of you out there who are still in for this drop style gameplay that we've come up with here. So I am really, really proud. In fact, I took this last night, and today it's already over 62,000. So like, it's just going. It's going well. It's a healthy campaign. It just sets the stage for so much of what we want to do moving forward. Scott, anything with the campaign that's surprising you or exciting?
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. Like, I was a little nervous. Like you said, it's been a while since we launched this project, and you've taken Phase Shift in some different directions, and we've kind of circled back. Yeah, so you're wondering, like, does the community still care about this game enough to launch an expansion? But I think that's the part that's been really fun for me, is to see, yeah, people are still in. We have a super awesome list of Anomaly suggestions. It's just been really fun after a decent little chunk of years to see and now kind of reconnect with this game and this community.
Indeed. Hey, Rubinio, I see you out there. Thank you for your congratulations. It is fantastic. All right, well, let's move on. I also wanted to call out, because I've mentioned all play several times through the campaign comments, some people have asked, where can I get all the original expansion stuff from 5 years ago? The answer at the moment is allplay.com. And I just wanted to take a moment to kind of explain what's going on there with Allplay. Excuse me. So we are we are part of Allplay's publisher partner network. That's our official title. Essentially, they partner with many publishers, over 40, I believe, at this point. And you all, whether you have bought an Allplay game directly, like their little box line that's very popular, like Mountain Goats and all of those kinds of games, you may or may not have bought an Allplay game directly, but you may still have bought or backed a campaign that the pledge manager brought you to allplay.com. They have their own pledge manager, proprietary. And it's because you backed one of the 40 publishers. Now we are one of those 40. And essentially, they help us in a lot of different ways. And the short story, or the punchline of all of it, is they take off a lot of the heavy lifting of logistics, e-commerce, fulfillment. They alleviate all of that from my shoulders so that I can build Phase Shift more focused on the games themselves, developing games and launching. I mean, we have always wanted to launch 2 big campaigns a year. We've never actually. I've launched one big one and then one smaller one, but like I want to do 2 big games a year, like this one, and now in the fall. And this kind of partnership really it liberates my time to be able to do that. So when the pledge manager time comes around for this campaign, it will not be backer kit as it had been for every previous campaign. They have been the 800 Gorilla. They're still a great company. I like backer kit, but Allplay has their own. And part of the benefit of using theirs is when you go and check out with the pledge manager and you're finishing all your stuff that you want for Drop Drive, you can also add, I know Bite Wing Games is in there. Is Chip Theory maybe? Like they have 40 different R2I. There's a bunch of really great publishers, and you can add any of their products to your pledge, to your order essentially, and you don't pay extra for shipping because they essentially spread that shipping liability out across all of us publishers. So we're all actually paying less, but each of us incrementally pay a little bit. You pay less and you get more stuff at your doorstep. So that's just one of the many things that they do for us. Essentially, as soon as my manufacturer is done and they give me the green light that the product is ready to be picked up, I'm done. I don't deal with the local companies anymore. I don't deal with the freight. I don't deal with the fulfillment. They take over 100% of that. It's really exciting. And also, they are our front e-commerce store as well. So in order to buy our games, if you go to phaseshiftgames.com at this point, you'll see a banner at the top that says to buy our games, click here, and it takes you to allplay.com. And then you can click board games. If you just go direct to allplay.com, you click board games, and then there's a little publisher drop down. You can see right there. You can select Phase Shift Games, and then you'll see all of our games in there. So they are the front door at this point for all e-commerce and all of our fulfillment logistics. And it's really exciting for me. They are a great company, and they are great people. They're at every major convention. You can go up and talk to them. They're just wonderful to work with. They are professional. They know what they're doing. They have fulfilled a lot. They're not perfect, right? They have had some glitches in some of their campaigns, and there's always going to be those little things, but we are very, very much excited about the benefits that this relationship will bring. So any questions of that, feel free to raise them. I do see there's a comment in the chat. I wonder if Dungeon Drop could get a limited promo pack like Drop Drive that compiles all the promos in a single box. Save that thought. This is obviously not the Dungeon Drop campaign, but to my previous point about the success of this campaign, proving how much drop style gaming is still of interest, there will be Dungeon Drop stuff in our future. So save that thought for a future campaign. I think the answer would be yes. Cool. Any other thoughts, Scott, on the Allplay, or questions on your end about it?
I've always been a big fan of Allplay's games. The look, the booth is really pretty out of this world of conventions. So I'm excited.
They'll even spotlight our games in their booth, in addition to us having a booth at these major conventions. So it's just win-win all around.
Great.
Okay, what's next? Invasion poll. Okay, so we ran a poll for we established early on that even before the campaign launched, we had it very clear that this expansion, Second Son, was going to include 3 invasions. Scott and I had been working on about 5 to 6 various stages of development, different invasions, and both of us admitted before the campaign again even started that we expect that 3 of them will really flesh out and be ready and be appropriate to include in this box. So we went into the campaign saying that the budget was set based on that, the price of the product, the estimates that we have from our manufacturer, everything normalized for including 3 in the box. As play testing proceeded, which then included the beginning portion of the campaign, and based on your results, which I'll now switch to this slide, this is the poll from the community on which of these 6 invasions seem to be of most interest. While there's a couple that are lower, clearly, like the Zorg up at the top there is the lowest, it's still got a lot of votes. Every one of these had a lot of interest from you. And as our play testing proceeded, we found these are all working really well. Like, we basically came to the conclusion that we could develop all 6 of these. We can't budget-wise put them all into the base box. But what we can do is right here. Why did the title get cut off? I can't tell if it's there or not, but Invasion Incursion is going to now be a new add-on that we add into the campaign. It's not there yet. Probably later today. I will add that. And it will be the same size tuck box as Space Coins, Luxury Links, Shipping Shenanigans, Limited Promo Pack 2021, all those original little tuck boxes. I'm looking over at my shelf over there where they are. So we will add a new one. I can't just put it into the base expansion box. Again, the budget was set. We're already essentially exceeding the limits for it. Not limits, like it's still within the realm of acceptable, but we were already over budget essentially for what is in this box. There we go. So we do need to split it out, but we will make all 6 of those available for this new $10 add-on. I also think that new add-on MSRP will be higher, might be 15. Because it's going to have a lot of stuff. There's a lot of tokens, there's a lot of cards, there's a lot of rules, there's a lot of things that go into an invasion. It's not just the few things that you see. Even on the campaign page, I'm not really fully articulating just all what goes into each invasion. Like, there's, again, rule sheets and rules books. There's the invasion card. I just put that in the general section. I didn't show in each individual invasion that there's also a unique invasion card, which is a jumbo size card with the tracker, that there are project cards unique to every invasion. There's a deck of project cards for each and every one of these that are unique. So there's a lot that goes into each invasion. And for that reason, we do need to split it out. But the really good news here is we are comfortable that all 6 of these are compelling, and we will make all 6 available. Now, we took your votes. Your highest votes were for World Mind and the Brood, and those will be in the base expansion. So if you decide not to get the additional incursion, that's fine. You'll still get your highest voted ones. The Fungus was not the next highest, but it was still pretty high. But I have to put that into the base box because this box will have punch board sheets that are 7 inches by 7 inches. The little tuck boxes are 3.5 by 3.5. So the Fungus have large tokens and many of them. So for that reason, I really need the larger punch board sheets that are going to be in this box. The other ones all have smaller tokens or wooden bits or whatever that can fit in anything. So I see some excitement there from the community. So yes, we agree. Great news. Cracker's Nephew mentioned about All Play having one of their carrying bags. I have probably 3 or 4 of their bags, and they are great bags. Yes. Anyway, Scott, any thoughts on this?
I think it's all good. It's a neat split, I think, of variety in each of those halves. We've been talking a lot about sort of the invasions that feel a little more aggressive versus a little more passive. But I think the variety worked out pretty nicely. And the fungus is an interesting one. Yeah. Of course, all these we're gauging interest based on, not all the details, just kind of the general theme. I think people find the fungus is pretty cool because it really changes the board look. The whole thing kind of changes in terms of the shape of it as people try to avoid what's progressing. So, yeah, I think it's a great one for the base box.
Indeed. And we originally said we expected, in fact, I was almost ready to force that one of the 2 battle-oriented invasions, which are the Zorg and the Reapers, that one of those 2 would be in the base box because we wanted that flavor there. And those were the 2 lowest rated ones from you all. So that was interesting to us. That was unexpected. Honestly, it doesn't matter much because we're going to make all 6, and I suspect most backers are going to end up getting the extra thing anyway. So you're going to have them all regardless. But it was a little bit of a surprise, and I still hem and haw over not splitting them, evenly, one in each of these products. But this is also the nature of running a community-driven campaign like this. Scott and I love doing this. We've done this with Dungeon Drop, Drop Too Deep, and now Drop Drive multiple times. And your voice is spoken. So unless there's a manufacturing reason, like with the fungus, I'm going with your votes. So that's that. Elated that World Mind is coming in. Coming in as a Junji Ito fan whose favorite books is Hellstar Ramina. I'm some of those words are not familiar to me. You know what this is talking about, Scott?
No, I could make guesses, but I'm not going to just speculate.
All right. Well, good. You're elated. I see that you're elated, so that's excellent.
Living planets, something with living planets. I'm going to imagine. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Got it. All right. Now, but there's more. Here we go. I put out an April Fool's joke, which was a lot of fun. I found this image online. Someone else put it out. Actually, it was long before April Fool. Someone else had put this Snorks image with the evil Snorks under the water saying they were never your friends. First of all, for those who don't know, I grew up in an era with the Smurfs and He-Man, and the Snorks was a Saturday morning cartoon series that was essentially designed to compete with the Smurfs. These were the underwater Smurfs, essentially. I actually preferred the Snorks because they added a kind of an air of fantasy science fiction to the Smurf world. So I love the Snorks. And I saw this and I laughed and I said, oh, it looks like they're from the movie The Critters with the teeth. And it just looked, it was a fun thing. So I said, oh, I'll make an April Fool's joke out of that. No one will believe that's true. Well, almost 20 comments later, I'm like, Scott, no one realizes this is a joke. What do I do? So thankfully, 1 or 2 people finally chimed in. Haha, I figured out the date. It was a joke. But a lot of you thought it was a really cool idea. Probably because you had never even heard of the Snorks before and you saw a picture that looks halfway decent. The Snorks is not going to happen. That is a licensed property. We do not own the license to that property. In fact, I'm pretty sure somehow Disney owns it. We're not going there. But there are, oh yeah, some of my content's getting cut off here. Look below that. There are the Slink Worms is a possible title, the Slither Blight, and there was another title that got cut off somewhere.
I don't think you've nailed the title yet.
No, we'll put that out to a poll as well. But when I was drafting the April Fool's joke, literally taking 6.5 minutes to type up some wacky rules about Planet Brine getting taken over, and anything that you have on your ship that comes from Planet Brine is now infected, and you would either take some damage or have to lose some money for having those things on your ship. Well, I took it a little further and came up with a full rule set and passed it by Scott the other day that basically take that concept and flesh it out to it's the same idea, but now it's any planet that gets infected. The stuff that originates from that planet that is now on your ship is either infected already, causing havoc, causing damage to your ship or whatever, and you have to go inoculate it by going to the planet, or vice versa. Maybe your stuff on your ship is not infected, but the planet is, and you need to bring those pure things that aren't infected back to the planet so that they can develop a cure. Thematically, we'll work on some of those things, but I'm prepared to say that we can actually include a fourth invasion in the invasion incursion box. This, I think, would be a simple one. And it does something that Scott knows for a long time I've really wanted to do, which is make use of the planet of origin that we put on the top left of every card in the game. Ships, upgrades, specimens, passengers, they all originate from a planet. And this now makes use of that across the board. So that's something that I'm excited about. No promises. I haven't fully fleshed this out. We haven't even play tested it yet. Scott and I are about to get together for a retreat weekend, and then we'll get it out to public play testers. But I think we can probably make a fourth work here as well. That's that. So, do planets dream of free will? I like the Blade Runner reference there. I believe is what that is. There's a space dog in the background. Space dog. Does Scott or I have a space dog in the background? Or is that a background on the image there? I'm not sure. In any case, Rubinio says maybe with the new option of the new add-on and additional budget, you can make it possible to produce special shaped tokens. Well, that's already happening. And the fact that the campaign page just shows, for example, circular tokens for the fungus, that's just for speed of getting the campaign going. And I don't have the custom cut yet for the fungal tokens to make them look more blobular, but that is going to happen. They are not just going to be standard circles. So, and then someone I think was talking about the world mind. They said the book is about a massive celestial body that consumes other planets. Well, that may happen in our game. And you've also heard the distant calls of a space dog. Yeah, I'm not getting the space dog reference. Let's move on. All righty. Not sure about that. But solo Starfarer mode. Scott, I'm going to put you on the front stage here. Can you help people understand how we've recently kind of developed the rules here for solo Starfarer?
Yeah, well, I mean, we knew we wanted to put some kind of a solo mode into this expansion. We were able to do it with Dungeon Drop with a very different, it had to be a very different system. But once we introduced like the co-op system for this expansion, we kind of opened the possibility of a solo way to play, because now there's something to go up against besides yourself, because I think that's the kind of the least interesting solos sometimes, or you're just trying to hit some kind of high score. And basically we found out, quite a while ago, you could essentially play solo mode, taking over 2-player ships and playing using the 2-player cooperative game rules. So I tried doing that a few times, and it does work, but I think I'm probably not alone thinking that if you're playing solo, you want something that makes it feel like you're not just taking on a couple of players, right? You're doing something different. It's a different game experience than you're getting in cooperative. So there's where this idea came from. I've been testing this, and I've been enjoying it. So essentially, you have your one main ship, just like normal, but now you have a shuttle, and you can see there it's got a special little ship piece. And the shuttle actually starts in your ship, kind of like Star Trek and launching the shuttle away mission type deal. So it's literally on top of your ship, and it gets its own phase to go out. it always starts by flicking off of your main ship, and then it, after that launch, it functions much more like a normal ship, with some exceptions. It can gather asteroids and sell stuff. It can explore and gather explore cards, but this shuttle cannot be expanded, into this massive thing like your main ship, because it's actually going to come back and forth to your main ship. It can gather those upgrades for you, but it's going to have to return to your main ship. So this is kind of different. And to further layer on that a little bit, there's going to be a separate deck of cards that is kind of, we're still talking about the exact theming of it, but it's sort of like missions for the shuttle, or outfits, for the shuttle, preparing it for certain jobs. And so when it docks back at your main ship, you can draw from this deck. You'll have a little selection, choose a couple of these outfits to take with you when that shuttle goes out, and that's going to give it boosts, because it's a weaker ship than your normal player ship. But yeah, you are now trying to play this little mini hand at particular times to the best possible effect. So to give your shuttle a big boost in speed, because you're trying to get over to some key asteroids. There's a variety of examples you can see up there on the screen. But what I really like about this is it encourages this cycle. So you can always kind of recall the shuttle back to your ship, and then you get this fun chance to kind of grab all the stuff that it's taken, on its away mission, and replenish its hand. So yeah, it's a little cycle that happens with this shuttle going out and coming back to the ship. You get to introduce some new things here as well, like it's got a little gate pass. It can immediately go to one of our new gates between systems and stuff. So yeah, I think this was it was a neat little fun design space to get into, and I hope it gives enough of a feeling like it's a unique play experience in our system.
Yeah, I especially love it because I think you already said, so many solo modes are just play as two characters and then play the two-player game. Now here, essentially, the core rules of a two-player game will still be in use, but it's not just play two separate ships that feels like you're just doing double duty. It's unique. And I think that it's very special. First of all, the theme of, as you said, the like Star Trek, sending your shuttle out on its mission, outfitting it for a particular mission, sending it out. I like the outfits theme myself. And then it's able to do stuff, and then it exhausts its resources, and it's time to come back.
Yeah, it has to come back.
Yeah, and then outfit for the next one and send it out again. I do think that it creates that. I mean, I get chills just thinking about some of this stuff, that it just helps reinforce that epic science fiction adventure that we love so much. So great job so far. I can't wait to play this more. And let's move on. So that's solo Starfarer mode. By the way, somebody confirmed it was my dog barking up there.
Okay. Oh, yes. Yeah, the space dog. Got it. Yep.
Sorry about that. Okay. Cosmic Crate Conundrum. This is going to be the case of Scott R. Smith versus Jason Maselli. Before I advance to the next slide, so we also indicated early on in this campaign that we haven't locked down yet the art, direction, or design for the Cosmic Crate, which is the big box for Drop Drive, just like we have the big box for Dungeon Drop, which was very successful, the treasure trunk. There are two fundamental kind of paths that we can go down. And I want to be clear, you're going to see some visuals, but none of the visuals on either side are refined yet. What we're looking for here, we're going to each state our case. We're looking for which overall direction do you seem to prefer? And that will be a poll shortly after this live stream. Poll number 1, do you prefer path A or path B? Then based on that, we will flesh out more design choices within that chosen path and then run another poll. So I just want to be clear, none of the visuals are final, and you shouldn't base your decision on just the visuals that you're seeing. Know that we will continue to refine them. But what's interesting here is in almost 10 years of working together, it is very, very rare that Scott and I just fundamentally disagree on something. And in this particular case, our minds just go in a different direction. And ultimately, this is a good example of one where it doesn't matter what Scott and I think, because this is not a product that's going to go to the retail shelves. For the most part, most retailers aren't going to carry this giant empty box. So all that matters to me is that you, the backers, get what you want. So this is going to be entirely up to you. So let's advance. And Scott, I'm going to ask you to state your case and describe what this is. In fact, I'm going to go full screen for the next 2 slides here.
Okay. Well, to me, it's more like Jason's been alluding to the main direction. Now, as he's already said, we have some disagreements around this. And I'll even talk about a couple ideas I've had that aren't on that screen. But my side of things is for a big box product, which really I find is kind of like for the community and the collectors. I'm a big fan of a more minimalist, selective kind of approach to the box. Actually, an example that Jason and I went back and forth on what this was an example of was like Firefly, where it has kind of the main box has like the big space scene and ships, but the collector's box is like a giant trunk, and you don't see any of space on it, right? It's just like a big trunk, crate looking thing. This is much more kind of my aesthetic would be to, and actually going back to the first dungeon drop, big box, I consider that more an example of this, where we featured the wood elf, kind of made a lot of energy with it, with a nice, kind of color burst behind it, but it really became all about just really featuring and glorifying that one beloved piece of artwork. So that's kind of more the direction I would take with a big box. I think it's trickier because our game doesn't center around characters that are kind of the characters so deeply. So like, I'm not sure we have the equivalent of like the wood elf in this game. Of the examples up there on the screen, the one, for example, I'd be probably most drawn to is probably like the Dyson sphere. I think that could potentially be blown up even larger with some kind of color burst behind it. And it's really just this big Dyson sphere that becomes the box. Other ideas I've had that would be in this category. One would be making the entire box look like one of our specimen canisters. We have those cards in the game. If you collect specimens, they come in like a little canister. What if the entire box was a canister with a little specimen? We just, maybe we did a poll for what was the best specimen art we've got, and we featured that in the canister. Just had fun, basically. Like, players of the game know what that is. Like, to somebody else, it would be an odd big box design, but if you know the game, that's a specimen canister. And we have fun, like I said, kind of featuring a beloved piece of the game. Or like that we have our death dodecahedron. It was like our version of the Death Star could be blown up onto this thing. So anyway, that's kind of my direction. Is I think the challenge of it is, if you're only focusing on one thing, what is that thing? It's very high stakes. And if you pick the wrong thing, I mean, we found already in our small community, some of these, like, just featuring this one thing on the box, people are like, I don't like it, and then it gets tanked in the polls. So it's really all about finding that perfect thing. But that would be my strong argument, would be find that thing that we want to feature. All right, I'll let you take it away and give the wrong opinion.
Give the wrong opinion. Guys, I feel very violently strong in what I'm about to say here. I mean, to me, that's not actually true. I love I love a minimalist design approach as well, and I am a fan of many that are out there. However, to me, in the case of Drop Drive, and I think many sci-fi games, no one character or object is really the star of the show. It's everything. It's the spaceships, the encounters, the anomalies, the invasions, right? It's the entire collage of zaniness that's happening all around in this epic science fiction adventure. Um, I just haven't, for me, and we played, as Scott just said, we've played with a lot of different ideas, even here with the scenes, right? We have a space scene above, which is the one that we've spotlighted on the campaign page, and then just as another example, took the Second Sun artwork, because for the most part, the Second Sun box is just going to be thrown away. It's a small little box, but it's a beautiful scene, right? It has a lot of energy. I just love this burst of color and energy and life to me. And it's so interesting, the reality of spaceships, right, are dead. They're not alive. But to me, as maybe it's just my uber sci-fi geek inside coming out, it is a burst of life in this science fiction universe, seeing all these different spaceships flying around and pirates attacking, and seeing the Belter's Bazaar port in the bottom left there, and a science fiction gate that's opening up and something's coming through. That's what I am drawn to for this particular game. So, two fundamentally different approaches. I would still absolutely get behind a minimalist approach, and I know Scott would equally get behind any one of these approaches if the community feels strongly one way or the other. We're going to see, because you will be voting on this very point. So with that, let's go back here, and we will send that poll out in the next update, and we will look forward to hearing your thoughts. All right.
Yeah.
That takes us to the main event here, the Anomaly Design Contest. We ran this for the past week. We got 27 unique submissions. Some were short and sweet, 1 or 2 sentences, just a quick idea, and some were quite elaborate and detailed. We're going to go through each one, and we will try to keep a good pace, because we don't want this to take too long, but we want to give every one of them their moment. We want to talk about them, and we're not deciding on anything here today, by the way. We're not deciding a winner. We don't even know how many winners we'll have, because these are by design. The whole point of this contest was try to use existing components so that all we really need is an Anomaly randomizer card and a rules card. And that is very easy to include. So as long as we can flesh out the rules and not bite off more than we can chew in terms of play testing requirements. Scott and I kind of made this mistake 5 years ago when we made 18 anomalies, and we didn't realize just how much work went into play testing all of those. And then the interdependencies between all the potential conflicts between them and such. It's a lot of work. We want to make sure we're not biting off more than we can chew.
Yeah, and I'm going to chip in there. I think one thing that's like really exciting about where we're at this time around is that it turned out not only was it hard for us to play test all those different anomalies, but people hadn't played the game. So submissions for the original campaign would take the game in wild directions that some of it couldn't be done. We had to do a lot of thinking about, well, how do we take the spirit of that and try to translate it into the game? It was a lot of work to do all that, and that was just the nature of the game at the time. What's so cool to me this time around is it was really fun to read these through. A lot of them are real close to like, oh yeah, no, you can tell right away, like the submissions know the game a little better this time around. They translate much more smoothly into the system. So yeah, I think this is going to be there's going to be some really good additions in here. Yeah.
All right, let's maximize it because there is some text on these. I want to make sure I can see it with my old man eyes, and let's get into it. The only order that these are in, they're not in order by when they were submitted, and they are not in order by user either. They are, I tried to group together so that we can talk about a set all at once. For example, the thing that looks like the xenomorph from Aliens. There were probably 4 submissions all about that token. No surprise. So I grouped them all together so that we can talk about all of them at once. I think it kind of makes sense that way. There was only one that and they didn't even expect us to use this token, but I thought perhaps it could use this large token that we have, and it's the only one that would. But what Chris Wraith here has proposed is that you put this token somewhere, and when you fly over it, it essentially triggers something else we have in one of our anomalies called the slingshot drive from our precursor tech. Which basically just lets you, essentially you're slingshotting around this supermassive black hole, and you get to immediately either reuse your rocket drive or like double the distance that you can go that turn because you slungshot around. Is that the past tense of slingshot? Slungshot? We'll go with that. In general, I love the idea of just, well, I always love anything that gives more mobility. And I love the idea, Scott, from 6 or 7 years ago, how much I love the idea of slingshotting around.
Oh yeah, you still have that. I remember that old idea you had of the string to yeah, which is it's a neat concept for sure.
So this is a really simple one, and I do like it in concept. Any other thoughts on this one?
No, I mean this is one of the most straightforward for sure. Yeah, seems like it'd be fun. But yeah, that one. I think you could throw it right into the game today. It's just a matter of what people want most.
Yep. Alrighty. Next up is the derelict ship, which that token is using artwork from the seed, not the seed ship. What do we call it? The precursor tech Anomaly. But this is a token we provided in the game box that was never used in that Anomaly. So it's just an extra token. So here they have suggested, thinking of this as a derelict ship. And when you discover it, immediately move all of your pirates toward the closest eligible target in the token's direction. So basically, the pirates start to encroach on the derelict ship. Pirate reaching the token gains a permanent battle bonus, so it levels up the pirate, which is kind of cool. And then repeat this movement on all pirate turns until the token is reached or destroyed. Then we go on to say the ship, derelict ship can be destroyed with an attack of 10 plus. So you could go there and attack it and prevent the pirate from leveling up. And then yielding you some salvage tokens and bonuses like that. So?
Yeah. Well, this is one of a few that are kind of centered around some kind of space Hulk, some sort of floating thing in space. So my guess is, as we narrow things down, often what will happen is that a number of the coolest ideas from a few get sort of combined into one. That can happen. What is most compelling about this one to me is the idea that this thing would modify pirates. I think that's a really, really cool concept, right? That the pirates are kind of attracted to this and that they would come away from it different than they were before they arrived. I couldn't think of anything really like that we've currently got in the game. So yeah, the second part of it is, kind of a battle to destroy is maybe less unique. So that might be the part that we keep working on. But the first part of it, the idea that pirates want to come to this thing and come away stronger. I love that. Yeah.
Yep. I think it's another easy, potentially clean one that works very well. All right. I believe this is reference to Fifth Element, Floston's Floating Paradise here. So again, using that seed ship, I keep calling it that. That's what you originally called it, I think. The precursor tech ship. So it would be dropped in the game in a random spot. Players can dock with it as they would a planet, but can only deliver passengers. The ship counts as a planet of any color for the purpose of figuring out what the passenger's bonus is. After delivery, the ship, here's where the terminology started to throw me off. It weighs anchor. I don't know what that phrase is coming from. The ship weighs anchor. You roll a die. 1 through 5, it's an asteroid color. On a 6, it's all asteroid colors. And what it does is it travels to the rolled color. And if it was a 6, then it would travel to the furthest planet and orbit it. So I think it's just a matter of how it moves around.
Yep.
Players delivering passengers here gain +2 credits and may draw passengers from the discard pile. So my thought on this one was, I don't know as the artwork really supports what's in my head when I think of Floston's Paradise. But more than that, it really duplicates a bit of what we already have in Comic-Con. That's the one where you can go to this place, or in the case of Comic-Con, 3 different places, those 3 different comet tokens, and deliver any passenger. So I think it's a cool idea, and if we hadn't done the Comic-Con one, this one would probably have been a contender. But I do think it is somewhat redundant with that one. That was my only thought.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, I really do like the way it would be traveling around. I could see the theme of that, they're on a cruise to observe, the furthest blue asteroid, and this thing is moving around in a really dynamic way through the systems. But yeah, that's an interesting point, the overlap with Comic-Con.
Right. So now we get into the aliens ones. The unknown form, the ultimate life form. So this one, again, there's like 4 of these. So give me a moment because they kind of blur together. This one here, it counts as an enemy, clearly. You may attack it. If the defense roll is less than the attack roll, remove a health token from it. After every round, move it towards the closest ship. So it's going to be moving around in space. If you lose all health, place your ship on the nearest planet as a penalty. Prepare for battle. You can use scrap to prepare your dice modifiers, usable in any combat. Cowardly pirates near the life form, move away from it. And time to harvest. After removing all life forms' health, drop bounty around it, remove the token. So you get a bonus. It bursts into a bunch of bounty.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's interesting to introduce this kind of life overlay on top of what we've already kind of got in the game. I mean, it makes sense for an anomaly to have a sort of life counter. If I was reading it right, there's also the ships would suddenly have this kind of life thing. That's the part I think we would have to work on, because essentially we already have kind of a life system in the game, but it's more like you're damaging your ship, your upgrades and things like that. But actually, the idea in this that stood out the most to me was the idea of this alternate use of salvage. We have this in the game. It's actually a rule that gets forgotten sometimes, that fuel has a dual use, both obviously to activate your drop drive, but also to re-roll your battle die. I kind of love the idea of giving salvage this alternate use. Can now be delivered as salvage or get it's almost like ammo to boost your battle rating. I thought that was a really cool idea.
I think several of these anomaly submissions introduce something to do with salvage, some additional use of salvage. So I did see that as a common thread. I think this one also is interesting in that the alien token itself is moving through the system. Sure. Some of the other ones are more about the alien token is either on a ship or on a planet, which might feel a little more intuitive than the alien itself flying through space. But yeah, this was good.
Well, it harkens back to the original Space Beast.
Yes, which we of course have. All right, now we have the Stowaway. Same thing, alien token. But this one, the alien goes to the back of your ship. It doesn't take cargo space. Players with the alien token add 2 to their battle rating. Just amps up your battle rating. If the player would receive damage, they may destroy the alien instead. So almost like a bit of a blade of armor.
Yeah, get rid of it.
And at the end of each turn, if the player is transporting passengers, the alien eats a passenger, which I just, of course, we love that concept. The eaten passenger goes to the discard. And when the ship lands on a planet, the alien remains on that planet until another player lands there and it boards their ship. And then it repeats the cycle.
Right. So to me, this was like very close to The Thing. With a few modifications, this could be a very Thing referential type anomaly, which I loved. I love the idea that this thing is kind of like an auto passenger crew that, especially if it had rules where it, when it had to be dropped off, when it had to go aboard people's ships. I think that would be potentially really interesting. There are a few ideas in here to be wary of. One is you never want something that's gonna. We talked early on in anomaly design that if an anomaly is like all negative or overly negative, it's reasons why people stop exploring anomalies. So they need to have like a very strong kind of positive lean, or at least a clear benefit for the discoverer. So I think that might need to be worked on here. Like I would never want something that was just going to eat like lots of your passengers and stuff. That's like too threatening to, I would just be afraid to explore anomalies. However, I love the idea that just maybe it would replace one, like The Thing, like that when it comes aboard, it's not going to eat all your passengers, but it's going to replace one of them. And then it has like some kind of alternate effect, like, possibly increasing your battle rating or something. Mm-hmm. And that it keeps going on to different people's ships throughout the game and replacing one of their passengers. I don't know. It's very close to something very thematically cool.
Yep. Agreed. I like how it moves around too between the planet and the ships. That there's something about that I just really like, the organic movement there. Right. Next one. Ow, my stomach. So this would be placed on the anomaly card to start with. At the start of every player's turn, when the token's on the anomaly card, roll a d6 for every passenger. So the more passengers you have, the more chances are that you're going to have one burst out of someone's stomach. On a 1, discard the passenger and place the token on their ship. Now that it's on your ship, at the end of their turn, the alien damages one of your cards and adds a credit to the anomaly card. Once per turn, you may fight the alien, which costs 2 links of movement. The alien strength is 4 plus the number of credits on the card, so it gets harder and harder to defeat as the game goes on. If you are victorious, return the token on the card and claim the credits as a bounty. And then there's an alternate idea here. Vent your cargo, discarding all cargo, and then probably getting rid of the alien there as well. Redropping it, return the alien to the card, and discard all credits. Cycle repeats. This one could get more along the lines of what you were just describing as a potential problem, where it's just like negative. There is the bounty if you're victorious.
Yeah. I mean, I think, and I wouldn't rule anything out because it has that potential flaw. Like we can sometimes combine two ideas together that are similar to make it work. Or sometimes it's an easy tweak. We just add this one little benefit and now this is cool. Same thought on that. I mean, it's really funny right out of the gate. I was trying to remember, you might have heard me typing. I was trying to look up real quick the end of Spaceballs where they have the soup at the diner. I was just thinking, I was trying to look up what soup. There was probably a name. People can type it in if they know. I don't know what soup they ordered or something. That would be a really funny name for
space. It was space soup.
Space soup. Yeah, space soup. That would be funny. Other things I might work with is stuff like, it was like roll a die for every passenger. That takes time to resolve all those die rolls. I probably want like one die roll, and just the number of passengers on your ship is what you have to factor in. So the more passengers you have, the higher chance that die roll is gonna do this to one of your passengers or something. I mean, the theme is super fun. So,
yep. So, all right. And I think there's one more. Geiger. Draw as many passengers as there are players from the equipment deck. Randomly give one to each player. All right. So the rules. Part 1, escape. Starting with the player who discovered the anomaly, who gets an extra turn. Play until all but one player have delivered a passenger to their desired location. All right. So essentially the alien is trying to escape. Number 2, part 2, the Geiger. The last player who has not delivered a passenger to safety is now infected. Replace their ship. Oh, the alien's not trying to escape. The players are trying to escape the alien. So if you're the last one, you're infected. Replace your ship with the Geiger token. The game is now everyone else versus you, and only one side wins. Right.
I haven't read this one. This was a later one.
This was a later one, yeah. This becomes a one versus many game now. And now that he has 6 different variants, all work in progress, obviously, but you'd roll a die for the scenario. In some, the Geiger, the alien is trying to escape. Some it's an all-out war. One of them
gosh.
Yeah. Well, these would be like, I think, 6 different ways to play, and you could roll randomly. Let's see, Geiger versus Predator. He has TBD, don't even know yet. Prometheus, something involving the precursor tech. So some of these are just loose ideas, but the point is that you have fundamentally changed the game now to a one versus many.
Yeah. Well, this is certainly complicated. We got into this with our kind of last element where it really fundamentally changed. That makes it sort of semi-co-op for a while, right? And I mean, anytime you fundamentally change kind of the nature of the game like that, these are the ones that are a beast to play test. I would definitely be choosing like which of those scenarios is most compelling and trying to really hone in on that rather than having a variety. But I mean, what do you think, Jason?
Well, I mean, I am drawn to these kind of
the whole game changes
to the game state, especially if it's random that it came up and the players had all agreed whatever anomaly is going to come up, we're going to do long range scans. So this creates a story for this game you would remember. I do love that. I am terrified of the potential testing, not only with the original game, but now we have co-op mode. What does this mean if this comes out in co-op mode? Holy cow. Second Son, how does this
have to override all other rules of the game, I think.
It's possible we could treat this one the same way we treat the Last Element. Now that we have Second Son, we basically are indicating in the rules, for those who don't know it, we're indicating in the rules that the Last Element is the only anomaly that has to be played on its own. You cannot play the cooperative game mode with it or the Second Son split system. It just doesn't work. It takes over the game state, and it needs Mr. Darkness or whatever. It needs to be able to travel through the system without the central boundary in the way. That's how it all works.
I mean, there were very few that had that issue, but
it's the only one. In fact, this one would probably be a second, and that doesn't make it bad. It's just it does make it a little different, and it's a little awkward to include it in the Second Son box if it can't be played with any of the Second Son stuff. So cool idea. Definitely something for us to keep in the back of our brains. Oh, this one involved 2 tokens, including the alien token and now the precursor ship. All right, Forsaken Freighter. So we place the freighter where you are, that you investigated the anomaly. Place the intruder on the back of the anomaly card. Big Bang. Okay, don't worry about the Big Bang. Loot the freighter. So when you interact with the freighter token, choose a number between 1 and the total amount of cargo and upgrades that you have. Roll your die, aiming to roll higher. If you succeed, higher than that total. If you succeed, you gain the closest cargo equal to your number. So if you rolled a 3 and that was successful, you get 3 cargo. If you failed, you have to redrop a cargo. And if the chosen number was 3 plus, put the intruder. Oh, so there's some push your luck there. If the chosen number was 3 plus, put the intruder token on your ship back. So now you failed and the intruder comes on board. You're infected. And it's a deadly intruder. At the end of your turn, while you have the intruder token, it advances 1 ship upgrade card towards your ship front. It moves along your ship upgrades towards the front, damaging each upgrade along the way. And if the intruder reaches your ship front, return the token to this card and redrop your ship and all your cargo as a penalty. This introduces some very new stuff.
Yeah.
And I like some of it.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's a lot in here, and you know, there's a whole bunch I could pick out as, oh, that might need to be tweaked, or I'm not sure about that. But there's no question to me, the absolute brilliant idea in this is having an intruder that starts at the back of your ship, and your ship has suddenly become a tracker. And the more upgrades you have, the longer the tracker is, and this thing has this marching effect towards your like probably where your pilot is or something. I love that idea. It's such a like visceral way to use our ship design as a very physical, spatial way to have. So I just can imagine the threat of this piece that's moving up towards your cabin. So I love that idea. I kind of want that in the game, and I'm just like, how is the question?
Well, yeah, and so I'm with you 1,000%. The first part of this, the push your luck, the calculating the total, there's maybe a way to simplify all of that and still have this element of you found this derelict ship, which, by the way, totally on point for this aliens concept, right? So you find this derelict ship, this thing stows away at the back of your ship and then marches towards the front.
Yeah,
I'm in love with that as a general concept. So very well done here. There's definitely something cool to play with.
I'm thinking, you know, where my brain goes on this is, so I would never want anything that brilliant in the game that didn't trigger, like that didn't happen. That would be like a huge missed opportunity, right? So I feel like this thing has to happen. Just the first idea off of my head is like, you discover this anomaly. Oh, this thing is on board. It comes on the back of your ship, right? And that it starts marching up towards the front. If you can defeat it somehow before it reaches the front, you get some reward. Yeah. Right. But if it gets there, then it's a penalty. So, I mean, it really is organic. Like if I encounter it when I have a big ship, I probably have a very high likelihood of defeating this thing and it being really good. But if I encounter it and I got this little short ship, oh no, this is a disaster. I don't know. That looks cool.
Crocosniff is saying he's the one that made this. I will admit the whole choose a number system was very awkward to word in a concise way. Yeah, no worries. I mean, with all of these, we don't expect anyone to be submitting final rules. We would work through and flesh these things out, make them appropriate for the game that we're putting it in. So no worries there. But yeah, well done in terms of a very cool system that I'm sure Scott and I will be talking about.
Yeah, it's almost this whole like shipboarding system. It really makes my brain think, like, is there some other way to get that kind of concept into the game? You know, boarding a ship and trying to make your way to the front. Yeah.
Not for nothing, but Cylons, like, holy cow, we don't have anything that really represents Battlestar currently. That would totally be a candidate for the same type of system. Not that we have a token for that. Cool. Let's move on to antimatter asteroid. So now we're into a bunch of these little asteroid type tokens. Pick up a black asteroid token, which I assume Chris Wraith meant these tokens, unless he meant that there would be black asteroids in the system now, which is a new component. So I wasn't totally sure, but let's assume it's these tokens for the moment. So now that you have an asteroid token on your ship, it can be delivered to any planet to remove a market demand token from any line before you deliver. So it can essentially let you manipulate the markets. Tokens should be removed from the game and not reused to avoid prolonging the game. So simple, just a special type of token, whether a physical asteroid or these cardboard ones, that lets you manipulate the markets.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's another nice, clean one. We read these really complex ones, which are so fun thematically and it could be really interesting, but I know as a player, sometimes you just want one that you're like, oh yeah, I get that right away. And we don't have all that many ways to manipulate the market like that. So that could be kind of neat. Yeah.
Okay. Then we have a single asteroid. It enters the system at one of the far edges. At the start of each player's turn, it moves 2 links towards the closest planet, kind of like our dodecahedron does.
Yep.
Gravitational pull, it pulls objects within 1 link. They're drawn into orbit of the asteroid and then eventually placed on the asteroid card. Landing, a player may land on this asteroid, collect up to 2 cargo. I think the ones that were pulled into its gravitational orbit.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You may not both take off and land on the asteroid in the same turn, so he's treating it like a planet.
Mm-hmm.
Panic. If the asteroid touches a planet, because it keeps moving towards planets, roll a die. 1 through 5, it's just a shooting star, and it misses the planet, continues. Or 6, it collides, crashes on the planet, redrop all orbiting objects, pirate hold contents from that planet, flip the planet card. I think it destroys the planet, basically, and remove the asteroid at that point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Very thematic to things like Armageddon and Deep Impact.
I mean, I love the story of that this thing's moving through and occasionally, most likely just whizzing nearly by these planets, but it has this little chance of collision. I mean, that's great story to me.
Yep, I do like that as well. It definitely has some overlap with the Death Dodecahedron. Marching to the nearest planet, destroying the planet. So definitely has some overlap there, but thematically this is different and very cool. Yeah. And it could be
just an alternate idea to separate them a little bit. Like if it did collide, maybe instead of destroying the planet, you just take all those asteroids it had collected and they just like smash into the planet now. Mm-hmm. So now the next person that goes there actually makes the planet more compelling to go to. Maybe you get to those asteroids for free or something, you can scoop them up.
Okay. Next is the bloated exoplanet. Place the exoplanet token at a location of your choice, 2 nav links away from any planet or player. And it's an impeding body. Players
that's the key here. Mm-hmm.
What's that?
Yeah, that's a key idea here. The idea of like a movable blocker,
right?
That keeps, I believe, being able to be moved around. Trying to muck up player movement paths, right?
Indeed, yes. And every time you land on a planet, you move this somewhere else. Still at least 2 nav links away from any planet or player. But yeah, it's a movable blocker.
Mm-hmm, yep. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Kind of a cool idea. Yeah,
it is. All right, then we have an asteroid belt. Place the belt at your location. Collect 1 of the closest asteroids of each type, keeping 1 and placing the other 4 on this anomaly card. And now it's a diverse belt. You may dock at the belt. When you do, place an asteroid on the card that does not match any of the other asteroids on the card. If you do, collect 2 asteroids from the card. So you swap 1 or 2 as long as you have 1 that's not already there. Depletion, when there's only 1 asteroid left on the card, redrop it and then remove all of the anomaly components from the game. Very cool. The swapping, I like the dynamic market that this represents. It is, again, there's some overlap with our Belter's Bazaar, which introduces asteroid belts, which you can land on. In that case, you're taking and leaving behind, I think, explore cards. So this does something similar, but with asteroids. It could be a good companion to that.
Yeah. I mean, the swapping idea is really interesting. And, I always appreciate the creative energy going into these things. Sometimes even when an idea gets passed over, there'll be little seeds of it that make their way into other things, or just the community's collective thinking about the game. So yeah, very cool.
Yep. First contact. We placed the planet token. By the way, some of these I took the liberty of applying a token, even if the submitter didn't know which token would be useful. I don't know if this was one or not. I know some of them I took the liberty. So place the planet token at your current location and gain a crew token. So this one, he even has a mock-up. I think he did the art himself of a crew token. So that would be a net new component in addition to the planet. Place 5 market demand tokens from the supply onto the back of this card. You may dock at it this turn. Okay, so that's when you discover it. Now, economic growth. Take the market demand tokens from this card instead of the supply.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually one of the really original ideas of this, is that you take a chunk of the game's demand tokens and place them onto this thing. So you almost create this separate pocket using the demand tokens. It's a different, the idea to separate kind of the game's timer in this way is an interesting idea for sure.
Yep. Yeah, because that timer is like kind of gospel right now. Like nothing really messes with that in our game.
Right.
So that's a new, fresh idea. So when you dock at this planet, you choose one of these 3 things. You can establish trade, discard a specimen to gain credits. Form bonds, discard a passenger or crew to gain 3 credits. You may not discard Zelix, though. Or exchange technology, discard a ship upgrade to gain 4 credits. Then, robust alliance. When docking at the planet, while no market demand tokens are left, players may also identify scrap, sell asteroids for 1 credit each, and explore or repair. Do this after resolving the new friend's ability. Now,
right, so it's kind of like once you've established contact, now you've got this new good thing in the system.
The rules here, maybe it was only in the art. I don't see what Zelix does. So I know, Crocus, if you're in the chat, let us know in the chat what Zelix actually does here as a crew token. Maybe I just missed it somewhere, but I'm not seeing that.
I mean, I like that idea of needing to like invest in this alien relationship, and then eventually it, yields rewards.
Yep, I agree. Zelix gives you 1 credit when you explore. Okay, anywhere. So Zelix just helps you explore.
Yep.
Cool. Okie doke. Da and Co, I think, yep, from the same submitter here. So those 2 stars in that token, the twin stars.
Yeah.
Place the twin stars at your location, gather the 3 closest asteroids, collect 1, put the other 2 on one of the twins on the back of this card. So each star has one of those 2 asteroid tokens. Place this card next to the planet tiles flipped over. All right, now dual gravity. If you would redrop 1 or more asteroids, place 1 on a twin below the below part of the card, the anomaly card, before dropping the rest. If 1 twin has no asteroids, place it on that one. And then mining operation, you may dock at the twin token. If you do, take all the asteroids from 1 of the twins.
Yeah, so in the end, I mean, it's got some similarities to some of the asteroid mining type things. I mean, again, there's an interesting idea, which is this sort of siphoning off of the redrops, which I think is kind of different.
Indeed. Yep. By the way, so this submitter, Spencer, he's the one who did back 5 years ago a bunch of Anomaly. Actually, it might have been after the campaign, but he just whipped up and then put on, I think, Board Game Geek, like a whole bunch of fan-made anomalies, including one that I think is repeated here. Well, Don Co, I think, was one of them. And then also like the pocket dimension, which I think is coming.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. Spencer, you seem to be very much in love with bringing all sorts of zany ideas to the table, which I love. All right. So the Rift. The red Rift token goes in the system. A transdimensional rift threads through the system. All pink asteroids are connected to each other and to this Rift token. When you touch a pink asteroid or the Rift, you may immediately move your ship to any other pink asteroid. So they're all connected, like a Nexus kind of thing. I think Voyager, I think they did that with the Borg tunnels, trans-Nexus tunnels or something.
Yeah.
And you may do that instead of picking up the pink asteroid. If the rift is part of your movement, you may pick up the pink asteroid you touched. If the rift is okay, well, somehow you pick up the token. When touching the rift for the first time, collect the nearest pink asteroid before using the ability. All right, bottom line is it is a series of connected wormholes.
Yes. Clever idea to kind of leverage the asteroids that already exist in the system suddenly become this like network. As with anything like that in our game, that always leverages, how dynamic the redrops are, right? Because now if pink asteroids are a transportation network, especially in our new expansion, pink asteroids get sold. They get redropped in the other side of the board now, the second system. That's changing the transportation network. So, I mean, you always get a lot out of the system when you do stuff like that. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Hazard sectors. All 3 of those tokens would be used here. Place a sector token of your choice at the current location. Place the remaining sector tokens relatively evenly throughout the system. In the case of Second Sun, you'd probably put 2 on the large side and 1 on the smaller side. You may gain the effect of the sector this turn without taking damage. And so what does that mean? Well, the Daring Expedition, when you move through a sector token, take 1 damage and activate its ability. And they each have a different ability. The blue one, collect the nearest asteroid in your color of choice. The green one, draw an explore card. The red one, flick your ship, which ends your movement.
Yep, nice and clean. Damage for reward. Yeah, I mean, certainly works.
Certainly works. Spencer, I'm curious. I know you've played these a lot yourself. How many have you played simultaneously? Do you like add all of these into a game? I'm curious what you do. All right, North Star. This one's neat. It seems so simple, but this one's neat. Long range scan and Big Bang. Choose a galactic corner at random, meaning like it's a hexagonal play area. So assign numbers 1 through 6. Randomly choose one of them.
Yeah.
The token goes into that corner. So that's now the North Star. And every player that ends their normal movement traveling towards the North Star, that's my biggest holdup on this one, is how do you determine what means towards it. You add an extra link in that direction. But it's this constant pull towards the North Star.
Yeah.
Kind of neat.
Yeah, well, I mean, the very thing that makes it a little tricky is also what makes it compelling, right? Because it leverages the fact that our game is open spatial, at its root, right? Directionality, which doesn't exist in, most board games. So that's really interesting and potentially really leveraging what's most unique about the game. It's just also, you have to have like super clear rules. You don't want people in a debate over whether or not you traveled in that direction in total. Maybe you started going that way, but then you changed direction. We just need to nail down what that means rules wise.
Maybe, it could be as simple as you may take 1 extra link of movement directly in the direction of the North Star
before you move, or something along those lines. Yeah.
Cool. Sudden Spark, using the same token. Place your the Spark token at your location. Gain a credit per player in the award slot on the back of this card. And then you may fund research. All right, so 2 things. Funding research. When you encounter the Spark token, you may pay up to 10 credits, which are placed on the card. And then a science award ceremony. At the end of the game, whoever has placed the most credits gains all the credits on this card, including player contributions in a tie split.
Yeah, I have some thoughts on this one.
What are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's interesting, right? It's this big gamble. Do I invest in this thing because I've got this chance to win it? And that can be really exciting if it ends up being this big race. The danger of it to me is the same problem when my family plays Settlers of Catan, which is one of the games we play with like the whole family. My parents will play and everything. There's like an inside running joke, like, you know, it's like never get involved in a land war in Asia. For Catan, it's like never go for the longest road, because it's just like you you invest so much, and when it gets like ripped away from you, it's just so painful. And I feel like this could have the same thing. So what I picture is possibly someone says, "Oh, cool," they invest, and it could stop there because everybody else is like, "Well, they are already going for it. You know, I got to put 10 credits into it, and I might not even get those back." So it just kind of stops at that initial investment, right? So what this one needs to me would be a benefit, and it would also help potentially the theme of investing. So keep the part of like whoever invests the most gets some big reward at the end. But I think you would need to add that when you invest, you get something temporarily, or, you know, it could be a little scientific invention or something that would compel people to be like, well, even if I don't end up winning, this still might be cool to do now. I think if that was there, this might really start to work.
Neat. Yeah, cool. I mean, it's another easy, clean one, and I could see that working. And it does only work in competitive mode. That's a reality of this one. This one not have a bearing, you know, end of game score. Although maybe the in-game reward is more rewarding in co-op. Cool. All right, let's move on. Only if maybe 8 or so more here. So Stunted Sun. Again, using the same token, replace the sun from either system with a dwarf token. You cannot choose a sun with a Dyson sphere. Okay, so the Dyson sphere keeps that sun powered. I like that. You may activate drop drive for free, even if you already did it this turn. It is a gravitational anomaly. When redropping in the system containing the dwarf, redrop within 1 nav link of the dwarf token instead of the sun. It creates an ice age. Planets within the dwarf token's system purchase plasma asteroids for 1 more credit each, buying water tokens for 1 fewer credit each. And then if the planet doesn't normally buy plasma, it will now buy it for 1 each. Rekindle the fire. You may dock at the dwarf, redrop any 3 cargo. If you do, gain 5 credits and replace the dwarf with its corresponding sun. Activate drop drive for free, and then remove the anomaly. So it affects the whole system, which is cool, and it makes use of the new dual system as well, which is also very cool, or it's considerate of the double system. We've always envisioned, or we've always talked about, hypothesized about this, something that replaces the sun with like a black hole. We've never found a way to build it into the game. Certainly along those lines.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think, yeah, what I like about this idea is that this system is now in this ice age, that all the planets have been affected. You know, the idea of just having it affect the asteroid price is certainly works. I know my brain was immediately like, you know, wanted to brainstorm on that. What would an ice age mean for the system and the planets? But I do love that. I mean, it kind of makes me think too of Project Hail Mary, where there's a lot of chat about that recently as the new big sci-fi. But you know, that that was also cooling the sun. You know. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah. By the way, there are a couple coming up that are direct from Hail Mary, and I feel woefully unprepared because I have not yet seen it.
Well, I've read the book and seen the movie, so I can wait.
Alrighty. So cool. Let's move on. Oh yes, then we got a few with our beloved Galactic Guidebook. This one here, you take the Galactic Guidebook token if you explored. Counts as cargo, but doesn't require a cargo bay. You may not redrop it. If a pirate steals from you, it takes that token instead of cargo. Once per turn, while you have it, And then you would pass. So you get to use one of these cool abilities, and then you pass it to the player on your right. Time is an illusion. After using your rocket drive without collecting cargo, you may use your rocket drive again. I kind of like that idea of if I went my rocket drive length, it's kind of like earlier with the slingshotting thing. Anything that kind of gives you an option now to get more movement, I like that.
Yeah.
Deep thought computer. If you ended on a planet, flip it to the edge world side, or use this effect twice if it's already the edge world. That's kind of neat, although you have to move the market demand tokens. And monetary units, none. If you ended on a planet before selling asteroids, if any asteroid type has 2 or more market demand tokens, remove one and return it to the box. So market manipulation.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have like you said, we have a few of these galactic guidebook ideas, and there's a bunch of really cool ideas. I wonder in the end if there's a way to kind of merge these, the coolest of all of them, into one. I love that the pirates are looking for this. I think that's really fun. That if you have this, they're going to take it first. That's neat, and it also puts a little pressure on the player to use it. That idea goes really well together with the other cool idea of that it's a rotational use. So if you use it, you have to pass it. The danger of that is that somebody just hangs on to it a really long time, because that's not fun. But because the pirates are going to steal it from you, I think that would encourage players to use it more. So make sure they got their benefit, So there's some really good ideas in this one.
Agreed. What's the next one? The Galactic Guiding Book. Place the token on the Anomaly card. Every time a player identifies salvage, this was one of the ones that made other use of salvage. Roll a d6. On a 6, claim the book token and place it on your ship. Then, at the start of your subsequent turns, either roll a 6 or discard d3 credits to return the book. Point being, use one of these cool abilities somehow. Gather any 3 asteroids, fuel, salvage from the galaxy, drop them from a height of 3 on your ship. So you put stuff in your vicinity. Flick your ship 3 times in any direction. That could almost get you anywhere you want, which is pretty cool. But yep, so 3 flicks. If you hit a planet, redrop from 4 onto the sun. So you don't want to hit a planet, I guess. Flick a planet of your choice. Cargo players, pirates that are hit are redropped. Take a random unused ship front, back, or both and replace yours. So you can actually change your ship out, which the expansion already has some stuff that does that, by the way. Not everyone maybe knows that, but the whole starter ship idea does introduce a way that you can swap out your ship fronts and backs during the game. 2, discard all cargo, passengers, or specimens and redrop them on the sun. Return the book to the card. And finally, return the book to the card. Discard credits. Okay, so various ideas.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the one right before this had such a compelling kind of system. To me, this one would become like more ideas to throw at that other system. Like what the possible uses of the guidebook could be.
All right, next one for the guidebook is collect it, place it on your ship front. Take a look. You may use one of the guidebook's abilities by dropping it within a nav tool link of the farthest planet. And the abilities here are around the ship in 80 seconds, collect all cargo within 2 nav links, or barrel rolls for dummies. If you would take damage, you may choose to ignore it instead. You can do this when it's not your turn. If you are in space, redrop your ship within 1 link of your current location. Otherwise, it ends your movement. And knowledge is power. When your ship touches the galactic guidebook, collect it, place it on your ship. Yep, I'm with you. Like all of these, we could just kind of pull all these cool ideas together, figure out a core system, and then choose the best of all of these different
and I think it's doable. I think it's cool to see a different designer, Spencer, here with that same thought, though, that this thing would need, if it has really powerful abilities, it needs to get moved around somehow. With the first one, it was that every use you literally pass it to the player, to your right or left, or that type of thing. This one, it jumps around more physically through the system. But yeah.
Yep. All right, moving on. Playing pool with planetoids. Now, before we go into this one, I will just say we already have an anomaly that does use these 3 comet tokens. So I would be hesitant to make another one that uses the same token. But let's still go through it because maybe there's some cool ideas. Playing pool with the planetoids. Place these 3 comet tokens at the center of 3 opposite board edges. 1 board edge between each, so dispersed evenly at the edges. Tails touching the board. The player who activated the anomaly aligns the direction that the tokens point. Anomaly card has 3 colored spaces with room for credits. At the end of every turn, pick a comet and roll a d6. You may rotate the comet 90 degrees from its current position. Move the comet forward by whatever that roll is plus any credits on its space, that many links. Anything that the comet touches is flicked. So think of this as a game of pool. That's the theme that he's going for here. So anything that it touches is flicked by the controlling player in the general direction that that comet was facing. The word general there would, of course, need some rules. Yeah. If a comet hits a galaxy wall, place it and orient it like during setup from the hit point. So basically reset. Add a credit to the comet space after moving it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think this one has a lot of overlap with a really early one with the, what was it? With the asteroid moving through the system. Yes, so I think these would be ones you'd be trying to look at the best of both, probably. How does it move exactly? That idea of possibly impacting a planet or impacting other things as it moves. Yeah.
Yep. Neat idea, though. I mean, kudos to the meta, concept here, playing pool with.
Yeah.
Definitely, I could see these things just ping-ponging, slingshotting all around the system.
Of course, when I read that planetary pool, the first thing I thought was that you'd use some sort of, if we have a token that's long, that you, instead of flicking something, you were able to use it like a pool cue.
Wow.
It's getting pretty dexterity, but kind of goofy. Yeah.
All right. Pocket Dimension. This is one that I saw years ago from Spencer. We loved the idea from the beginning. Now, I put the picture of the Second Sun box here for a reason.
Yeah.
We'll go through and explain this one in a second, but the original manifestation of this one was suggested that you would use the core game box, the bigger box, 10-inch by 10-inch, and you'd use it like the inside lid would represent this alternate pocket dimension.
Yeah.
And the table space that would consume is just that much more on a game that already consumes a lot of table space. So in my mind, the smaller box that is Second Sun, which is a really kind of convenient size, to me, if you're gonna do this, it would probably be with that box. And if we were to do this, there's a possibility we could actually theme the inside box artwork to this. I'm not saying we're going to do this, but that is a possibility. So that's why I put the box image there. But essentially, so long range scan, you collect the nearest cargo, place the pocket dimension next to the system. So outside of the hexagonal play area, you now have a box lid upside down so that it can hold stuff. You place the rift token, the red rift token there at your current location, which would connect to this alternate dimension. Then drop your ship, the nearest planet, and all objects within a 3-link radius into the center of the pocket dimension. So everything within 3 links, including at least 1 planet, is going to go into this pocket dimension, which is in the box lid, separate from the play area. So now what you can do, enter the rift. If you touch the rift token with your ship, rift token any object touching the rift token is dropped into the pocket dimension. Of course, a ship dropped this way, if your ship touches the token, you can continue unused moves within the pocket dimensions. Now your ship's moving around inside the box lid. And then back to reality, an object touching the wall of the pocket dimension is placed back into the main area, 1 nav tool away from the rift token. pull of the rift. When redropping objects, drop half of them in the center of the pocket dimension, so that you're always kind of what we do like with the second sun, where you're always somehow some objects are going in one system or the other. Here he's saying take half of the redropped objects and drop them into the pocket dimension. And note that the distance between objects on different boards is measured from the outside of the pocket dimension to the rift token. The pocket dimension counts as part of the system. All right, so nuances to the rules. Oh boy. All right, so the whole point here is stuff gets sucked into an alternate dimension. You can go there, fly around it, collect stuff, fly back out of it. Multiple ships can be there. Pirates maybe could be there and battling, and it's part of the play area of the game. It's just outside of the hexagonal play area.
Yeah. So this is one of those cool ideas that's been kind of floating around the game from the beginning, that we've kind of tinkered with it once or twice, and there were some issues because I think both you and I really loved this idea from the beginning. To be honest, this is kind of where the whole second sun system came from for me. So the problems with the whole pocket dimension idea would be potentially too onerous to get in and out of. If there's not enough in the system, it's just not worth going to this little dinky system. You want to stay in the main one, right? And then table space, when you start introducing these things, because we do have a big game. So actually the second sun system was kind of designed for this. So, we split the table space we've got now. The system of everything gets redropped back and forth between them, so they always stay dynamic and full. So a lot of things kind of came from this. That isn't to say we couldn't still do this. I mean, the right place for it is definitely an anomaly. I think it has problems as a core system, but as a fun, every once in a while thing that could happen, I still think it could be fun. Like if I were to play this at home and that anomaly were to come out with the box, I would put it on like a different table.
Yeah.
Like that, I mean, it's that type of thing, right? Forget the table space. We'll put it over here on the kitchen counter. And then if you fly through it, you have to walk over there. I mean, that's the spirit with which I would do it. But yeah, I don't know if you have any more thoughts.
No, I just that I had the same thought about a separate table, but then I started to go down the road of, okay, is there some way that you can now allow simultaneous play? I'm playing over at that other table while you're playing at the big table, and we're each taking our turns simultaneously. We still have to synchronize total number of turns.
Yeah, well, time is different in both systems,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Ultimately, like you said, we love the idea from the beginning. So very, very creative, very thematic.
How about when you're in the pocket dimension, you can take 2 turns for everyone else's 1 turn, because time is
maybe, yeah, which would be more compelling to go there.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah. So cool ideas still, and let's move on. All right, there are no tokens that really match the next few, and I think these are all the ones.
Yeah, you're out of what I've seen too.
What's that?
I think I've hit the end of my notes.
Oh, well, you did have notes on some of the, I think, Hail Mary ones. This is maybe Space Worm.
Okay, it's okay.
Maybe
it's
the next
not on my original slideshow.
Yeah, there's different order. Okay, so the Space Worm here, this one I did read. Well, I read them all, but so place the arrival wormhole at the location where this anomaly was found. Add a worm section leading away from the wormhole, and add the worm head to the far end of the worm. So you're forming a space worm in the system, which is so cool. And each turn before activating your pirate, extend the worm by 1 section and move the head to the front. So it's slinking through the system. In fact, I'm reminded of the game Tao Long, the way that game works with moving the dragon head and tail. I believe the way it works, you keep moving a piece to kind of slink it along in the game board. If it's within reach, you may direct the worm to touch and consume any items in the play area except the sun. Anything that touches the worm is eaten and placed on the worm's head. Players may not.
Wait, what, Jason? What is the worm made of? Did I miss this?
Tokens that don't yet exist.
Okay.
So that's why I have a big question mark there. So the worm body sections would be 10. He has 10 worm body sections unused. Oh, he said space links you could use. You could use
Yeah. No, I was thinking it could be the tool.
or similar long thin pieces.
Paper clips.
So okay, and it also behaves much like the Tron light cycles, like it's a blocker as well. Players may not cross the worm with their rocket drives. The worm may be fought at its head only. Battle die is +1 for each section in its length. So however long it is at the moment, that's how strong it is. If you lose, you forfeit your next turn. We would never do that because that's a no-no in game design. Right? Some penalty. And then if you win, the worm is removed and you gain all the items that it consumed. All right, so the coolness here is a worm that's living and growing in the space area that's eating stuff and you can go and fight, but it's also a blocker. Rules aside, that's a cool concept.
It is a cool idea. Yeah. Oh, my space dog is barking.
No, it's your space. Yes. All right, that's the space worm. All right, now there's two, and I think it's the last two, Astrophage. I'm going to let you drive these because I do not know Project Hail Mary.
Yeah. The only trouble is that I have not seen these. So.
Oh, you didn't see either of these? All right.
No, they were later.
Well, let's read through it then. So on Discovery, place an unused player ship in the corner furthest from your token, from the Discovery location, and the corresponding pirate ship at the opposite. I think both of these, Astrophage one has this concept of like creating a line between two things in Discovery. The Astrophage, the pirate ship, has a battle rating of 12, which I guess makes sense thematically. Keep the ship on your ship.
Jason, sorry, I think I gotta deal with my space dog real quick. So
all right, go ahead. I'll read through the rules here. So okay, so you're keeping your keep the ship on your ship front and 15 credits for the game's end. Then the behavior, the Astrophage, the pirate ship, is depleting resources. Each round, the player ship travels 3 links towards the nearest sun. After reaching the sun, it stays for 2 rounds. After those 2 rounds, all fuel would be redropped over the sun. Instead, that would be redropped over the sun, or instead removed from the game. So that's how it's depleting fuel from the system. Again, I haven't seen this movie, but it seems like it's all about depleting fuel, and the sun may be depleting. Replication: after you drain the sun, the Astrophage travels 3 links towards the closest planet. Once it reaches the planet, it stays there for 3 rounds. So this is very fiddly in terms of rules, but there's something here we could clean up the rules.
Yeah, they're trying to get into a lot of what is going on in the movie with the Astrophage. I think the challenge is kind of how to translate as much of the story as you can into the cleanest, adaptation for the game.
All right, so we're filling market demand tokens on the planets. Then we're darkening, which is after replicating, the Astrophage travels back to the sun, 5 links per round. When it reaches the sun is removed. So it darkened the system, apparently. And then there's an alien behavior, which is the player ship that was added. The alien ship moves a link towards the sun. On contact with the sun, the player may choose to attack or communicate. Attack is a battle rating of 2. Victory, the alien ship's destroyed. Keep on your card.
I think anyone that saw Project Hail Mary, there's no way you're blowing up that ship, man. I can't imagine having seen that movie and attacking that ship. It might as well not be in the game.
All right. Well, okay. So you can communicate with it, trade the solution token for X white asteroids. So you get some white asteroids out of it. And if you hold the solution token, your ship gains battle rating of 12 against the Astrophage, which is probably how you are able to defeat that Uber Astrophage ship. Oh boy.
Yeah. Well, they're doing a lot of brainstorming on how to get some of the cool story of that movie into this game.
It's
Yeah, I mean,
one that takes over, kind of like the fifth day. It seems like it's a very all-encompassing anomaly.
yes, yeah. I mean, I really like that somehow you could mimic, the astrophage does this line. I mean, so the term from the movie is the Petrova line, but as this thing moves back and forth from a planet to the sun. I'm gonna try to not like give away the whole movie. So I'll kind of stop with that there. But yeah, I mean that could intensify, that it's having an effect on the sun, that you're trying to figure out how to deal with it. Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of cool story. Yeah.
I can't wait to see it. That's for sure.
Mhm.
Spencer jokingly said, "What if when you touch the astrophage, you just lose the game?" I guess that makes more thematic sense. All right, well, let's look at the other one, the Petrova line. This one was a little simpler. Draw a line from the red or pink asteroid, pink planet to the sun, and that's now your Petrova line, right? All pink asteroids are now astrophages and can no longer be sold as credits.
Okay.
The asteroids move 3 links per turn in the direction of the Petrova line and stay once they're there. The powerhouse, all pink asteroids can be used as fuel.
Yeah. That would be neat.
Depletion on crossing the line, remove all fuel from your ship and remove them from the game. Improvisation, when a player ship is on the line, it may exchange one of its upgrades for the topmost upgrade from the deck. And research, pink asteroids can be exchanged for 5 credits at the planet furthest from the pink planet. This is all very specific, but
yeah, it's very specific.
I
mean, having the Petrova line be very cool, and it's very thematic to the movie that suddenly the pink asteroids could be used as some kind of super fuel. So that would be, I think, very, very cool there. It's kind of an interesting idea to have a blocker, a wall of some kind that you didn't take damage from crossing, but rather there was a different effect of crossing it. I like that idea for sure. So I mean, there's definitely some neat ideas in this one.
I gotta see that movie.
You do need to see the movie.
That was a lot of really cool submissions, and I'm gonna go back to our full screen here, and I'm gonna echo what you said earlier, Scott. People know the game now. Certainly, we've seen a lot of familiar faces: Chris, Wraith, Spencer, some of the others there that we recognize, and yeah. So these things are like there's a lot of really valuable stuff that was submitted there.
Yep, for sure. For sure.
Very exciting. As usual, you and I will have our work cut out for us to sift through more deliberately. And so,
right. So, I mean, that would be the last thing here, right? Is like our plan going forward. Usually it's that we meet up offline, we talk this over, and essentially, do some combining, do some tweaking, come up with a slate of anomalies that we think could be added to the game and sound exciting, and then we turn it back over to the community.
Yes. And honestly, my mind goes to, because it gets back to the whole making sure we don't bite off more than we can chew. But in terms of components, these are not expensive components, because most cases we're talking about a couple cards because the tokens are already there.
Yeah.
I would love it if we could say we will make one best one for the alien token, one best one for the guidebook, one best one for the asteroid tokens, and maybe have a few of these that can be crystallized enough within the scope of our availability.
Yeah. Sure. I mean, could be very cool. Yeah, and I don't know how that will shake out, if that's just, once we combine those. I mean, I don't know if it gets to the point where, I mean, I always love it when we get community input, but like, for example, if we compress all the guidebook things into what we think is kind of the best guidebook, then, and you're saying we can include the multiple things. I don't know if, I don't know what the community vote might be at that point, you know, if we're just including a lot of that.
Oh, I don't know. Is there's another? To be clear, I don't think there's
Yeah.
another community vote on this. This was the community submissions,
Yep.
unless you and I get to a point where it's like, oh,
Right.
well, we could do this or
Yeah,
this.
yeah. I think
We'll
if we have
that
a
out.
split on something like, yeah. Mhm.
There's plenty of other stuff to vote on. Now, this is now what we may do. I don't know. Again, making it up on the fly. We might include some number in this. We might include 1 or 2 in the limited promo pack. We might save 1 or 2 for future promos. I don't know. What I know is there's a lot of really cool ideas that we just saw, and I'm sure we can sift through those and come up with some really solid anomalies to add to the
Yeah, one thing we might keep an eye out for along that lines, let's say one of the ideas in here we're like, oh, we absolutely love that. That's top of our list, but it would need a few more components.
Right.
That might be something we have to be like, well, we got to just put it aside for a little bit.
Correct.
Mhm.
Yep. Okay, well, this was a good length here. We covered a lot of awesome topics. I hope you all continue to see the excitement that we have for this and the passion that we're pouring into this entire universe, the game universe. It's really exciting. I'm super proud of the way the game has already come along, and this campaign is just propelling it to new heights. So, want to thank everyone again.
Thanks so much.
Huge thanks to all the backers, and you will see during this campaign and beyond much more awesome stuff from us. So, thank you.
Yeah, it's been great.
All right, I think we will close it here. This has been Scott and Jason with Face Shift Games, and we will talk to you soon. Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everybody.